This episode is brought to you by Modern Fertility, Once Upon a Farm, and Pros. Thank you for making our show a possibility. Thank you.
Welcome to If These Ovaries Could Talk. I'm Jamie.
I'm Robin.
And we're your hosts.
We sure are.
Love is love, and you don't have to make a family by taking a traditional route. If these ovaries could talk, you would say.
How do I get the sperm through custom?
I am a lesbian.
So gay.
So gay. We need to tell our stories.
It's not your nuclear family anymore. It's not just your mom and dad thing.
We're not ruining these little humans.
Not for the gay reason. Just because we stay. Ooh, Jamie, we are back.
We are
Season
back.
9.
Guys, I can't believe it's season 9.
We're
I'm
about
in
to hit
denial.
150 episodes
Dang.
in like 2 more episodes.
Oh,
It's
I've already
crazy.
been saying 150 episodes.
That's all right. Round up. Round up.
I mean, it's basically it.
We have such a huge season coming at you, season 9.
We really
I mean,
do.
starting off with this powerhouse episode that we have right here, but like this is going to be a fantastic
I
season.
don't know how the stories keep. They're
I
always so
know.
good.
And every time I'm like, oh, that's a
story.
story we haven't told. It's
Yeah.
so wonderful. It's so
I
wonderful.
know.
So it's going to be a great season.
Yes. So sit tight and get ready. But on that note,
Yes.
well, not on that note, on a different note, we are also starting the season off with some sad news.
Some sad news. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You might remember Patricia and Kellen from season 1, episode 17. I think the episode was called Motherhood, Mindfulness, and Mother's Day. I mean, Patricia's been struggling with fighting cancer for the last year. We talked about it and we put it on our social for the GoFundMe. And this week she succumbed to cancer. And
I'm crying because
you know,
she was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
And it's really terrible.
Yep.
I feel so much for her wife and her 3 girls.
Yeah.
And her family, and I'm wishing them the best. And she was more than a friend. She was a mentor to me, and she was kind of my spiritual guru. And I mean, you witnessed it yourself, Robin. She had so much.
oh my God, she
Power.
was so powerful. And she was so just like I said to Jamie when you told me about it first, because I had seen a picture of her on social and I didn't read the caption, and I thought, oh, she looks good. And, but she was a giant. She just was a giant in the room.
A
Like,
legend.
yeah, just like her energy and like, I mean, we cried several times I refer back to some of the things that she talked about her relationship, her marriage, and my marriage to this day. That episode left such a mark on me personally, and I know you too, Jamie.
Yeah, she just had this uncanny ability to move hearts and minds and bodies,
Mm-hmm.
and to inspire and encourage. And I met her at a very lonely time in my life, and she helped me find myself again. And every time anything good happens to me, I think of her and I tell her,
Mm-hmm.
and I want her to know. And she's just, it's a big loss to the world.
Yes,
So
and those kids and her wife, and but Kellen's post about I'll see you again soon. And that
I'll
was
find you.
yeah.
She said, I'll find you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, guys.
Oh my
but,
God, we're like blubbering idiots over here. But we knew we could not move this forward without paying tribute to what an incredible soul she was and is. Because I say is because her mark will continue in this world. It will just
Yes.
will.
Yes.
So we are dedicating this episode, this season, to Patricia, and we are sending our love to her family and to those kids. And I don't know, go hug somebody you love.
Yeah. Show everyone you love them.
Yes.
Anyway, okay.
All right. Well, on a
Okay,
lighter
back
note.
to the light stuff. Okay, here we go.
All right. Well, so season 9. So we are if this doesn't tell you how happy we are to be back, like just these feelings, like these people come in our lives just to do an interview, and we are always so moved, and we are
Yes.
like, we think of every single person as part of our family and as part of our
Yes.
community, even if they've forgotten who in the hell we are. We're still like, oh, remember that one guy who said that one thing, and we talk about it all the time.
We really do. It's kind of sad.
When I over the break, when I was at my father-in-law's, my sister-in-law said, she said, oh my God, she said, do you know what? She said, she always tries to get caught up before we see each other. And she said, I just finished season 8. She said, you know what was my favorite was Alec Mappa. She said, She said he was so moving in his advice and his parenting. She said, I just didn't expect that. And I said, I didn't either. I just thought it was going to be like joke, joke, joke. And
yeah.
and you just can't, I don't even know what the word is, but like
I don't know.
how
You
much,
can't buy this shit.
Yeah.
You can't like
how
it's
meaningful
just-
this all is to us and to everyone. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
So magical.
Yes.
Every episode is magical. So on that note, we have to say a special thank you to our newest Patreon member, Anne Ray. Thank you so much, Anne Ray. That's
Yes.
a beautiful name.
I know.
You ray of light, you.
Yes. And we thank you because you are helping us make content for LGBTQ families. So if you want to join Anne Ray and helping us make this content, join our Patreon community, you can do just that. You just do a good thing. So you can head over to patreon.com/ovaries talk and you can join our little community there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
without further ado, Jamie.
Laura Stone.
Oh,
I had to say it like that. I don't know
I
why.
know,
because
it's got
it's-
very theatrical.
What an amazing interview.
Oh.
She's a writer, a really funny lady, and one of our new favorite people, as you now know.
I was so excited to get her to kick off the season. And we're going to talk about her leaving the Mormon church. We're going to talk about her coming out. We're going to talk about all of her kids coming out at the exact same time as her and her writing that is for the LGBTQ community.
Once again, another powerhouse.
Yes.
I mean, you guys have to hear this. So let's just get to it.
Yes.
You don't need to hear us blather on any longer. Helen's back too, and she's happy to be here.
I think
I'm just kidding.
2022 she could be. We got a new Helen. No, I was saying nice things, Helen. Just roll the tape. They were nice things, Helen. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Laura.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, we're so
Oh my
excited to
God.
have you.
So excited. So excited.
As we were talking about before we turned the recordings on, my wife, Mary, is such a huge fan of yours and has been hounding me to get you on this podcast for, like, quite honestly, way longer than it should have taken me to get to you. So it's really, once again, I come out bad in this story.
I mean, you've got a lot on your plate, Robin. You've got a lot on your plate.
I don't know. I'm going to hold a little bit of a grudge, I think.
I couldn't love you more already.
I love
mean,
you,
that's
Laura.
perfect. Jamie's going to love this because, like, when Judy Gold yells at Jamie, I love it. And so when anyone else yells at me, Jamie loves it. So it's like a perfect.
I love it.
It's really fun. It's really fun. Anyway, so Laura, I think before we do anything, we should just get right into your elevator pitch.
Oh, you bet.
On your mark, get set, go.
Okay, so I got my family the old-fashioned way in that I grew up a closeted Mormon and practiced a whole bunch of heteronormativity. And as a result of that, even though that was lousy, the 3 kids that I got, that was what I got out of it. And all 3 of my kids with me, we make up LGB and T.
Oh,
Whoa.
Time to spare on the clock.
3 seconds left
Time
over.
to spare. That was very well done.
Wait, you left out that you're a writer. You left out that whole bit. Tell people
I
about
am,
that, for
yes.
God's sake.
So I'm actually an author. I have published 3 novels. I write only queer protagonists. I do not write gay pain. I do not write for straight people, in other words.
Oh my God. I'm
I
in
don't-
love with you.
I'm just
All right,
saying.
settle down,
Let's
Jamie.
talk.
You're married.
Let's talk. So, damn it. So, sorry, I'm not. So, I also published all 3 of those books with an award-winning independent publishing house called Interlude Press. I was one of their flagship authors. They only publish queer protagonists. It's not for straight people. I mean, straight people obviously can read our books and go ahead and give us your money. That'd be great. But it's not for them. It's
Not tailored to them.
right. It's most of the authors are queer or queer adjacent in some fashion. By the way, I use the word queer. I know that some people find that to be a slur. I am of the mindset that it's a reclamation. So apologies if you would prefer me to use LGBTQ. I do use them interchangeably. So
we want everybody to use what is comfortable for them because it's your story.
Yes.
thank you so much for that.
And our motto is you do you, boo.
That's
you
our
do
motto,
this.
Jamie. That's new.
I just made that up.
But so I've published 3 novels through Interlude Press. And the last one that I published, it's been a few years because I'm working on, this one's kicking my ass. It's a murder mystery set in the swamp here in Texas. I'm trying to make swamp gothic a thing, and it is lesbians. And I could not be more in love with this story, but it's just like, it's so intricate the story that it's just been taking me a little bit longer to get.
Oh
it.
my
But
God.
anyway.
You had me at murder
This is so
mystery
exciting.
with the gays.
This is so exciting. You had me at queer
Swamp.
protagonists.
Yeah.
Protagonists. I'm very excited. I sense another book club book coming on
Yes.
for our
Tell me
live
when.
stream. We'll do you next.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll do you, boo.
Jamie, it's getting weird.
All of this pleases me. All of it pleases me.
That's so exciting. And I want books all about LGBTQ, queer, the whole
Yeah,
umbrella.
yeah.
I want it. Bring it. Let's do
Yeah.
it. I'm tired
needs
of the
to be more of that.
heteronormative narrative.
You know, if I'm going to interject. So the second book that I wrote, I wanted to not write white, polished gay men, which I think so much of, like, whatever, read what you want to read, write what you want to write. But I just felt like I was contributing to just this plethora of books, and there's so many people who didn't have their stories told and didn't have, what they wanted. So I set a story in 1870s in West Texas, but
Ooh.
I don't write gay pain. That's
Okay.
I'm like, I'm not doing it.
What do you mean by gay pain?
Like, you know what I mean? It's
Like the struggle.
where people want to it's to make straight people feel bad for the queer experience.
Right.
You know, it's like, isn't it so sad? And let's see how else we can really kick this character and just make it pitiful. And it's like, my God, can we just have, a trans Indiana Jones story?
Yeah.
Can we just have
They
this
just happen
great-
to
Would
be
that not be amazing?
in the LGBTQ
Yes,
community.
please.
That's it. They just happen to be in the community. They don't
just
have to.
happen to be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's why I just say I don't
So-
need another coming out story. Like, I
Right,
got
and,
it.
and those serve their place because
Absolutely.
we still have struggles with kids being able to come out and
Exactly,
adults being able to
yes.
come out. And, I mean, I didn't come out until my 30s, but I had girlfriends before that, but it was all in the DL.
Yeah.
'Cause I
Side
was
whisper.
profoundly Mormon. I was profoundly Mormon.
Yeah,
And
we
that's
got to
like-
get into that. But
Oh, happy to talk about that.
well, we'll get into that. But I'm excited about your keep going with this. book
But
thing.
so I had to do a lot of research, and I want to shout out, this is so random, the Gene Autry Cowboy Museum in California has all of their materials archived online.
Ooh.
Oh.
And there is so much gay poetry
really,
written by cowboys in
What?
the 1800s.
Wow.
stop it.
There
Get out
were-
of town.
I'm
Laura.
saying there's like
1800s
these
Brokeback.
trans masked cowboys. It was the most magnificent thing to read and to see. And there was like this straight washing that happened during like all of the, during like movie code. And things were really, really queer until about the 1830s. And then, the people in charge just said, nope, we want
No.
everybody to be a white Christian. And
Yeah,
straight
that's
and-
dirty.
yeah.
Everything else is dirty.
Yeah. So I just wanted to shout out whoever their curator is for that museum, blessings on your house for doing such a great job of having all of this wonderful material out there. And I must have spent 8 months just finding all of this wonderful
That's really
queer
exciting.
as fuck stuff. And
Yes.
It was just wonderful.
Love it.
Yes.
So,
That's really
mhm.
exciting, and there's not enough.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
not enough out there, even with so many folks like you writing books like this. It's not enough. It will never
Yeah.
be it
It'll
may
never be enough for
someday,
Jamie.
But I mean, that's real.
Most just to go to put a tidy little bow on the whole cowboy thing, 40% were queer,
Wow.
and like another 40%. So it mixed and matched, but like they weren't white.
Mm.
They were black men.
Yeah.
They
Oh.
were Latino men. They
Uh-huh.
were sometimes Asian men. Like it wasn't the straight white singing cowboy, being kind to the schoolmarm.
Yeah.
That wasn't who they were. So
Well, that's
Right.
what's so
It's,
awesome about that movie that's on
yeah.
Netflix right now. Is it Netflix? The one that's Regina King's movie? Have you seen it?
I don't even know. I don't
it's
even
on my
know.
watch list.
Oh my! Okay.
What is it? What is
Okay.
it?
Oh, I can't think of the name of it. It is so unbelievably good, and it's about the black cowboys, and they were like, "We exist."
Yeah.
Ooh.
Hold on, movies. I'm gonna look up the title here. It is called "The Harder They Fall," and
Yes.
it is.
Oh.
It is. I mean,
I'll
and it
start
is.
that
It
tonight.
feels like a Tarantino movie, but it's so good. You have to watch it. But it reminds me of what you're saying because it is all about how cowboys were all whitewashed, and they're like, no,
Yeah.
there was this whole population of black cowboys. And I was like, amazing. And the movie's amazing. And Regina King is
wow.
just amazing.
Oh, I mean, I'd watch her read the paper.
There's nothing that she does that's not perfect.
Wait, what's the name of the book?
That book is called Bitter Springs.
Bitter Springs.
Mhm.
Okay, everybody write it down.
Just a quick question. Are you in the beginning stages of this baby making process? The planning that goes into creating our families, it's intense and expensive, and we have to take whatever help along the way that we can get.
That's why Modern Fertility was created. For all of you starting this journey, Modern Fertility makes it easy and affordable to test your fertility hormones with a simple finger prick. Mail it in with a prepaid label, and you get your results within 10 days. It's that easy.
Yes, and we all know that traditional testing with your doctor can cost thousands, but Modern Fertility only costs $159. That is a fraction of the price if you are not so good at math. And if you go to modernfertility.com/OCT, you will get $20 off that already cheap price.
Beautiful. You'll get insight into your hormone levels, how many eggs you have, and other important fertility factors. The results go deep into what every hormone means, and you can also talk one-on-one with a fertility nurse to review your results and options for your next steps.
And if you want kids today or maybe one day in the future, clinically sound info about your body can help you make the decision that's right for you.
And folks, right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/OCT.
That means your test will cost $139 instead of the several hundreds or even thousands plus dollars it could cost at your doctor's office.
Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/OCT.
modernfertility.com/OCT.
OCT.
OCT. All right, well, let's talk. We got to get into Mormon business, and we got to get into LGBTQ, closet, breaking free, all of that.
Yeah, so that's a lot. That's a real heavy topic. I absolutely am going to make light and I am going to make fun of the Mormon church. So if you're a Mormon apologist, we're not going to be best of friends, and that's just fine because
We're going to have some words.
So my family is like deeply and profoundly Mormon. Like they were handcart pioneers coming across the country.
Yeah.
Their journals are a part of like the BYU archives. My cousin is in if you're Mormon, he's a general authority, which I always thought was the most hilarious title. Like, I'm just a general authority. Like, I just am an expert on all of the things, right? Like, that's a good job if you can get it.
It's basically me.
Yeah.
Just generally know things.
But like, I grew up with the expectation that without question, I would marry a man and I would have children. And that was like the greatest thing that I could ever do. And that was the only thing that I really should be shooting for.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was not even, gosh, I probably was like 8 or 9. And I saw Christy McNichol. I don't know if you're,
Didn't we all see Christy McNichol?
And then,
Hi, Christy.
and then puberty hits, and then Joe Polnicek is on my TV.
Oh, yeah, she
Right?
is.
And it's just, nothing is fitting. And I was a deeply profound Mormon. I was just so into it that I couldn't understand what was going on. And anytime I would try to talk to someone about what I was thinking or feeling, it was always just, we just pray for that to get away. And, just that was the mindset that I grew up in.
Would you actually tell people? I mean, like, did you even?
I'm thinking about Joe and her motorcycle.
Yeah, did you even realize it was a crush?
No,
perhaps?
I didn't because I was also an incredibly naive kid. Here's how naive I was. So Mormons love to dance. Mormons love a church dance. There's a church dance every damn Saturday. And Utah actually has like really good radio stations. I'm not going to lie. And there was this new song that came out. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Father Figure by George Michael. And my dad was the church chaperone. And I was like, hey, Dad, let's dance. Because I was too awkward and I didn't really want to dance with the boys on a slow song. So I'm going to dance with my dad. And we're slow dancing.
Cute.
And it's, my dad's this goofy guy and he bounces his elbows. He's like, hey, pull my finger. Like he is the most dad who ever dad. He socks and sandals. So he's just like, doing this dad type waltz with his daughter. And then we both just kind of like stopped when the penny dropped of like, oh, And we just kind of drifted apart on the dance floor.
I can't remember what is the lyric?
I
What is
will
he-
be your father figure. Put your tiny hand in mine. I will be your preacher, teacher, anything you had in mind.
Oh, right.
And then it goes on. It's dirty. It's a
It
great
does
song.
get dirty. You're
I
right.
love that your dad's just like
It's
slowly
just like,
backing away from
Hey,
you.
kid, how about we go check out the refreshment? You know, I'm like, I like
Wants
ginger ale.
punch.
So I'm just kind of an idiot, is basically the takeaway here.
I mean, to be fair, I didn't know I had a crush on Joe or
Yeah,
Chrissy from Three's Company, but I realize now that I did.
right.
You know, but I didn't know at the time. So I don't think that's too strange. I don't think that's too
Well, bless you. And thank you very, very much for that, Grace. So, you remember Just One of the Guys?
Oh, yes. Remember that movie? Love
Boy,
that
it
movie.
doesn't
That
hold
movie.
up to the test of
I had it
time,
on
but
VHS tape. Sure didn't.
man, she was hot. She made
Oh,
me
that's the one, the girl who dresses up as the guy,
Yeah,
right? Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
short hair. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I've got a
Yeah.
type is what you should take away from there.
So do
It's real
I.
strong. And I had a youth leader who looked like her, and she took me to see that movie. She didn't know what the movie was about either, because she was also a very naive Mormon. So I think I'm like 15 or 16 when that movie comes out, and she's like 22, and I just thought the world of her, because she was just this wonderful and fun, and she had that like, I play volleyball kind of a vibe, you know, and I'm on the church basketball team, and she just had this energy that I was so drawn to. And I remember coming home from that movie and just like trying to figure out how this could work, and just feeling despair
Right.
because it wouldn't, it couldn't.
Mm-mm.
Everything
Mm-mm.
in my world said that this was, you know, just a cog that would just continually slipping for the rest of my life, right?
Yet you keep having these feelings and you
Yeah.
don't know where to put them.
Yeah, yeah.
But you're like, I should get married anyway.
Well, it was just kind of like, it just felt like
'Cause
this
you had no
inevitable
choice.
thing of like paying
Yeah.
taxes. Like, I don't want to do
Yeah.
this, but I gotta. And I'm
Right.
going to get in trouble if I don't.
Mm-hmm.
And something that's unique to the Mormon church is that they hit really, really hard that the most important thing in your life is your family. The most
Mhm.
important thing. You picked your family before you even were born, because
Mm-hmm.
they believe that, you know, your spirit's in the world and you choose everything. That's a whole other host of problems. But for the main thing is like, you pick who your family is going to be. And some people believe you pick who your spouse is going to be. Now, this is not in the Book of Mormon, but this is Mormon culture. Like this is just kind of steeped in Mormon culture. So everything that you do is to keep that family together. So there's it's a whole mantra: families are forever. And when you get married, it's not till death do you part. It's for time and all eternity. You are a family. You are a daughter. You are a husband. Yeah, that could be real bad, right?
Yes.
That's a long, long time.
It is, especially with some of my family members. So,
Also, I might want to be alone a little bit in the afterlife.
just
I
give
don't know.
me like
I've
a
got
couple
young
of
kids.
decades.
Just a little bit of time.
Well, isn't it true that when you get married, you have the husband knows your heavenly name,
Yeah.
and only the husband can
Uh-huh.
call you to heaven. And so
Yes.
if you die first, you don't get to heaven until he dies, so he can call you in.
Exactly right.
Yes,
That's
that's
exactly
Well, that
right.
makes sense. You should just wait for him.
obviously.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Well, obviously. That's tough, man.
Yeah. Well, and on another note, when you get married in the temple, that's when it's for time and all eternity. If you don't get married in the temple, and that's when they wear garments and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff.
Mhm.
When you're married for time and all eternity, that's it for the woman. Now, a man can marry multiple women. That's the polygamy
Nice.
thing, which they're like, we don't do that anymore. However, my mother and my father divorced. They were married in the temple, and they still had their temple marriage. And my dad remarried, and they got married in the temple.
Oh, you
So
mean
he has
you
two
didn't
wives
mean
for
eternity. But, like,
eternity.
not like
Not on earth.
in the sense
But
of the
she's not
polygamy
allowed
thing.
to.
Right.
Uh-huh. But
She
she
can't
couldn't
get
do that.
remarried in the temple. He can't.
No, correct.
Of course.
Yeah. So long story short, it just felt like I couldn't have what I wanted, and I had to do what I had to do because it was required to play that part, both culturally, both spiritually. You know, there's a lot of shame that comes on your parents when you don't follow the path that has been laid out for you.
Mhm.
So now we fast forward to my kids coming out. So I now have 3 kids.
Did they come out while you were still in the Mormon church and Mary?
No,
or
I had
you
slowly
left?
pulled away from the church. I am still officially a Mormon because they will not take my name off the records. I've got to like there's like this whole procedure that you have to do to like have a lawyer, and they draft this letter and they send it to them, and then they have,
Oh my God.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I kind of like being on their membership rolls and talking smack about them, to be quite honest. Like there's a little something I like about it. But they gave me so much grief.
Yeah.
I got to get my tithing out of it first, and then we'll say, you know. But so then my kids start coming out, and I have stopped going to church. And I'm not an active member. And I started to talk to my dad about just how the Mormon church feels, because my dad, he's still very profoundly involved in the church. So I start talking to him about, have you noticed how they talk about these kinds of things? And have you noticed how, because I have not come out to him.
Right.
So, like at this point, he does not know about me. But I start to talk to him, then I said, I need you to know that if you can't respect this about my child when they had come out, then we're going to have to make arrangements for like holidays and stuff, because you can't come into my home if you're going to say you can't be gay or say anything negative about it. You're not allowed in my house. You are quickly escorted. That's just not allowed. And to my dad's credit, he literally grew up in a barn. He's number 13 of 15 farm kids from this. Yeah. From this, I have 160 something first cousins.
Yeah, you do.
I'm Mormon.
Moly.
So he's from like the foothills of a teeny tiny little town outside of Provo called Lehigh, and which is where Sister Wives.
I know.
That's why you know it.
I
So,
do.
Uh-huh.
I had a girlfriend from Salt Lake, so we spent
Nice.
time all over.
Oh, there's a nice lesbian scene in Utah.
There's a huge like
Yeah.
alternative scene in Salt Lake City
Uh-huh.
alone.
That's so funny.
Like the cafes are crazy. There's so many tattoos and there's so much happen. Like it's
Isn't
like
it awesome?
you don't expect it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
well, it has to be like some kind of like I'm rejecting when you've been pushed down
Yeah,
a path
yeah.
for so
Mhm.
long
And they
that
go
that
hard.
you're having an opposite reaction.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And people
Yeah.
get like they're bowed up and rowdy, as we say here in like Texas. Like they're just
Yeah.
like, bring it. What are you
Yes.
what are you gonna do? What do you got? And
Yeah.
good for them. So
Yeah.
my dad was he's so besotted with his grandkids. He thinks they're the most amazing people, which they are,
hmm
that it just became a non-issue. And then they started looking for another church that they could go to that was queer friendly.
Who did your
My
your
dad.
father? Wow.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
Oh, isn't it amazing when given the opportunity they show
Yeah.
up the way that you hope that they will? Like that, it gives me such hope
Yeah.
So
that some
much.
people are able to show up.
But do
Yeah.
you mean outside of the Mormon church, the Ethel Mormon church?
He sure did.
Outside of the Mormon church.
Yep.
Oh.
So he has this, I always get the name wrong, but it is a Baptist church in Dallas, but they are LGBTQ, and they have actually been kind of kicked out of the
Uh-huh,
Baptist organization because of it. But they have just like a killer choir. They're a lot of fun. And my dad is a choir master, so he works with them.
Huh.
So he has been around
Oh.
a certain type of gay person his whole life. He's been,
Mhm.
like theater gay,
That's me.
which we love. But so he has only had that much exposure, and he's like, "Well, I like this. This is fun." And then my daughter, my nickname for her is "Stands with a Fist," because she's like, "I am a lesbian, and I am going to make you accept it or die trying." Like she is just like ready to go. She's the most magnificent 6 foot tall Doc Martens, 2 full sleeves. I love every inch of that girl.
Ah,
Eat
get
her
it.
up. She's magnificent, and you never want to argue with her because she's good at it. She knows just how to just turn it. But he thinks she's the most amazing creature on earth. And so she kind of confronted what he has known, gay can be. And then my youngest is trans and gay and is medically transitioning. So going back to the Mormon church, they don't even acknowledge
yeah.
transgender. They don't even acknowledge it. It's LGB. And they don't even say that. It's SSA.
What's SSA?
What's
Same-sex
SA?
attraction.
Oh,
So they don't even consider the gender issue.
And also, by the way, using that wording, same-sex attraction, you are taking it away from an identification and making it be a behavior. That's a really
Shitty.
interesting, like, psychological bullshittery
Uh-huh.
right there.
Yeah.
ugh.
So I am a member of a group that's called the Mama Dragons. It exists because the suicide rate among LGBT teens, LGBTQ, pardon me, in Salt Lake City skyrocketed in about 2015. And that was because the Mormon church came out and said, nope, you can't be gay and be Mormon. And if you're gay, your kids can't be Mormon.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what did we start this off with? The most important unit in a Mormon person's life is their family. And so
Mm.
now you have just shut the door and turned the light off
Yeah.
on all of
Like
these people.
Scientology. Like
Yeah.
that whole pulling people, it's like a programming thing, like pulling people away from, isolation. It's just, that's gross.
It's
Awful.
disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. And if anybody is listening who is in the Salt Lake or Utah Valley, Encircle, ENCIRCLE, is a home that you are welcome to go to if you are especially an LGBTQ teen. You will be welcomed with open arms and loved, and they know how to talk to kids who are from the Mormon culture and how to help you. I know we have other organizations, but that's a place that you can physically go and be surrounded by people who will love and accept you. Keep that in your back pocket if you're a kid in that area. But
Yeah.
they've had to walk it back a little bit, and it's as usual when there's any large change in that church, it's because of money.
Mhm.
They let Black people they let Black men have priesthood. They could actually hold the priesthood in 1978. And it was because
Yeah.
they spent all this money on temples in South America. And they have this rule that if you have even, this is not me, this is their dogma, if you even have one drop of Black blood, then you can't be a priesthood holder. Yeah, it's real racist.
My God.
It's
Oh
real
my God,
super
I had
racist.
no idea.
But
So
they
they spent all
changed
this
that
money on
because of money.
temples that
Right.
nobody could go to.
Oh,
And then they were
my
like, I guess we
God.
better fix
Yeah,
that.
We
and
need
like,
some
oh.
leaders.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's really disgusting. So
Ugh.
I have somebody who told me that in Sweden, the Mormon church can't really function because they're considered a hate group because of
Oh.
it. So hats off to Sweden.
Go ahead, Sweden. Go
I
ahead with your
know.
bad selves. You do you, Boos.
Once Upon a Farm is the leading baby food and kids snack company offering organic, cold-pressed fruit and veggie blends, dairy-free smoothies, overnight oats, meals, and more.
Yes, Once Upon a Farm products are made with whole, organic, farm-fresh ingredients and no added sugars, concentrates, or anything artificial.
Oh my God, it's so great. Their new immunity blends are made with nutrition-packed fruits and veggies like elderberry and dragon fruit and added probiotics to help support your little ones for the chilly season or any reason. Plus, they taste delicious.
And Immunity Blends, you guys, are Clean Label Project certified, meaning they've been third-party tested for over 400 environmental and industrial toxins, including heavy metals. Ew, I didn't even know.
Ugh. Well, and their subscription offering is fully customizable so you can pick and choose from their wide variety of blends or meals and switch it up before every delivery. And I love a subscription offering.
I know you do. And listen, from farm to the fridge, convenience without compromise. That's what they are. My family has absolutely loved these. My kids love the green kale and apples fruit veggie blend. And my son actually went through all 4 of them in 2 days. And I love them all because they're healthy. I eat them to tide me through the day. It's a great go-to snack for all. I'm going to subscribe and get a custom assortment of mostly the apple kale packs from kids.
Amazing. And Jamie, it is all about making our busy lives a little bit easier. And you can get started today and enjoy an additional 30% off your first subscription order. Use that code OCT at onceuponafarmorganics.com. That's onceuponafarmorganics.com. Woo!
I feel like we skipped a little bit. We skipped over you because I want to get to I want to talk about your kids and I want to know all about that. But I want to know, and I think Robin, you do too, Where did your queerness come in? When did you start embracing it? When did you start acting on your queer parts of yourself?
Well, I mean, I had a couple of secret girlfriends in my teens.
Ooh.
Oh God, I
And-
love a secret girlfriend.
don't you lo- and here's get ready. It was at
Such
girls'
angst.
camp.
That's the one thing about the young generation that's so fluid. They're not going to have any secret girlfriends,
No.
and that's sad for them.
They're so
But anyway,
they're so
go ahead.
open. They're really missing out.
They are because I got to have my secret Mormon girlfriend at Mormon girls' camp.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
yeah, you did.
Oh
And
my
it was
God.
fabulous. It was
I'm
really nice.
sure.
And it was
It
innocent.
was like little
but it was-
darlings.
it was awesome. And there's elements of that in the book I'm writing right now. But and then I had what I called my Mormon Rumspringa when I graduated high school.
Hmm?
I had a full ride offer from BYU, and I just said, absolutely not. I need to just take
Good for
some
you.
time off and figure
Mhm.
things out. And just kind of left everything that I had known, dated. That was my first time to like go to a lesbian bar. Shout out to Sue Ellen's in Dallas.
Sue Ellen's. I love Sue
Oh.
Ellen's. My sister lives in Dallas, and we used to go to Sue Ellen's and then go across the street to the Roundup.
Yes. Nice.
Sue Ellen's is the best. It's like 7 bars in one.
So that was where I got to have my first, like, I've got a girl. She's got her arm around me, and we're going to dinner, and we're going to dance, and we're going to.
Did it make you nervous? Because I remember when I came out and I didn't have Mormon dogma and nothing like that. And
Well,
I
we
was
only
a
did
wreck.
it. Well, I'll say that was when we were in the club,
Mm-hmm.
and in the club, that was just
Felt
totally fine
fine.
because you're
What
with everybody.
happens at Sue Ellen's stays at Sue Ellen's.
What happens at Sue? Yes, exactly right. But we went to like Six Flags once, and that was kind of nerve wracking because
Mhm.
Chris was like, she was stone butch, not afraid of just, I'm who I am. She could take
Mhm.
anybody if they wanted to fight her. And there, I don't know. I think I was so, there's a part of me that was still so naive. So, what's this father figure song about? That's nice. Like, oh, this girl likes me. This is fun. Like, I was in a cloud.
Mhm.
But I remember these two kids. We were at the Spinnaker at Six Flags in Arlington.
Oh my God.
And there were these two kids that commented, like, wow, look at her arms, meaning Chris, because Chris was ripped. And of course, she was like, sun's out, guns out.
Mhm.
And she immediately got kind of like self conscious. And then everything just kind of changed after that the rest of the day. And then drama happened, and we didn't see each other because we also worked together. We waited tables, and that's just a drama all in itself. Anyone sees it who's ever
Mhm.
waited tables. But
Yes.
but that was a period where I got to just like see what that was about, and I really enjoyed it. Now I have to say I'm not a lesbian. I am bisexual. At this point in my life, I find men interesting in theory. Do I want to date? And I'm not interested in that. But I had like just a really bad night. I was on acid. I was having a really bad night.
Been there. Been
I
there.
had like a really bad trip. And it was that kind of trip where you're just like, God is trying to tell you something, like Miss Seeley, just like it was like that moment.
Miss
It was like,
Seeley, Miss
"Woo,
Seeley,
I-
Seeley.
you just came down from the heavens and said, I need to change some shit.
Yes.
So going back to what I knew, I was like, I got to go back to school. I have to go back to college, and I've got to go to Utah. I've got to go back to Utah. So I grew up in Texas, but all of my family, the hundreds and plus cousins, they're all in Utah. So I kind of packed everything up, and I was like, I've got to cleanse my soul and cleanse my spirit, and I've got to, find a way to make this work. And then, well, I was actually taking care of my grandmother, who I was very, very close to, and we had this really special relationship. And she knew that there was something about me. I might cry, y'all. One of my
Aw.
cousins who I was really close to, and I'm not going to say his name because he's not out, but if you know your family member when they're queer
Mhm.
as
Yeah.
well. And so I knew, and he knew, and he fought harder than I did to be Mormon. And it's
Mm.
because his dad was like militant. And I remember my grandmother saying, she didn't know how to say it. She just didn't know how to say it. But she said, he just has he's still waters that run really deep, and there's something under the surface. Maybe one day he'll share.
Oh.
So she knew that my cousin had something that he was hiding. And I think she told me because she wanted to maybe open the door for me, but I never told that to her. I never talked about that. She also just really needed to talk about how she was feeling about things as she was transitioning, as she was dying.
Mhm.
So when she died, I just had this, well, now I've got to be the person she's always wanted her granddaughters to be.
Mhm.
And met a guy, and he was attractive, and everybody seemed to like him. And in Utah, marriage is fast tracked
Yes.
because you're not supposed to have sex.
Right.
So they're like, well, the Lord is telling me we're supposed to get married, when it's like,
Yes.
you're horny. But it's like, rub one out, you'll be fine. But sorry, I'm real salty. I apologize.
That's
I
good.
love
We like
it.
I actually
salty.
love
Don't
it.
apologize. So I got married, and we immediately had 2 children. And I come from that. I mean, 164 first cousins, y'all. I got hips and the equipment that was just built to pump them out. So I had my first 2 kids. The marriage was horrible. It was awful, awful, awful. When there's resentment in a relationship, the relationship's done. Like
Yeah.
that's just advice I'm going to put out there for anybody.
Hmm.
So I left with the 2 kids. They were 18 months and 4 months old. And I'm just
Whoa.
like, we're done. And come back home to Dallas to my family. And to be honest, the Mormon church stepped up.
Really?
They did. They stepped up in their service way of, all right, let's get you back into the church. Let's get you some job training. Let's get food for the kids. The local, it's called a ward, but it's basically like a Catholic parish. The ward is going to pull together and get you some clothes for a job interview, and get the kids some clothes so that they have new stuff. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
But there's a payoff, right?
Hmm.
You're going to go back to being Mormon again, right?
Yeah.
You're going to,
There's like you. What do they say? You take the money, take the shit.
yeah, exactly.
Were you living Mormon with your husband?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really was.
But they were afraid they were going to lose
Yeah.
you. Like you're going to
100%.
not just leave him, but also leave the church.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I tried. It's one of those things where it's like you feel honor bound to do these things and to have this mindset. And I'm just, okay. And then here's another guy that they all really liked, and he's cute. He was really excited about being a dad. He actually adopted my older 2 children. And so I'm like, okay. So we got married because that's what I was supposed to do. That's what it was expected of me. And to be honest, I liked him. He was, like I said, I was attractive. And then after our child was born, my son, it was just like, we both kind of were like, oof,
What do we do?
ooh, no. This isn't what I want. And so we were friends enough that I could tell him. So I came out to him, and he was totally fine with that.
Oh.
And we spent a few years kind of talking about what could we do? Do we make a marriage work? Do we open it up? Do we go our separate ways? And that conversation, that probably
Did you say
lasted
a couple of years you talked about this?
years, actually. We spent
Wow.
several
A lot of-
years.
It's a lot of honest conversations, though. I mean,
Yeah, they weren't always kind. They weren't always
Right.
great. It just, there would be times when it would be, well, let's figure this out. And then there are times where there's resentment. And
yeah.
meanwhile, I have 3 kids in 5 years. So, I mean, well, yeah,
But you're a hero.
And
Mormon.
your ex-husband gave up rights to the first 2
almost
kids.
immediately.
Wow.
Yeah, but that was a blessing. That was a no complaints from this gal on that.
Mhm.
And so then so then we're this family, and then and I still have that idea. Like, y'all, I didn't wear sleeveless tops until I was 36 years old. That's how Mormon I was.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, God can see that. Cover
Too
that stuff
much.
up. Yeah. It's like, look at me just slutting around with that armpit skin. But,
Showing off your upper
Oh,
arms
goodness.
like a heathen.
So we kind of had this fundamental break in our relationship where he just didn't want to be in a relationship with me. And I just didn't want to keep trying to convince someone to be in a relationship with me when I didn't really want the relationship either. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So doesn't matter, even though we both were like, we hung on to this way longer than we should have for the sake of kids, which is always a fool's errand.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you are not in a relationship that is modeling what you want for your children, then that's what you're modeling for your kids.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when that hit me, I am teaching my kids to not be happy. I'm teaching my kids that you don't deserve love too.
Mhm.
And also on a really basic level, you're teaching them what relationship looks like, which is unhappiness.
Mhm.
It's even more than a deserved conversation. It's like you're modeling
Yeah.
a bad relationship that they're going to go out and emulate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think when my daughter got to be a certain age, that was kind of when I started having my awakening when I was a young teen.
This is your
That-
youngest.
This is my middle. So I have a
Oh, your
son,
middle,
daughter,
okay.
son.
Son, daughter, son. Okay.
When my daughter hit that age, that was when I was like, okay, I cannot have this be. And then my kids are coming out to me during all of this, and my ex isn't really taking it well. He's thinking there was a you turned him gay little bit in there. I'm like, yeah, that's how it works. And so my oldest son is now 25. He'll actually, oh my God, he's going to be 26. Ugh. So, 10 years ago, it was a very different conversation
Oh, yeah.
in schools.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's still not great in some places, but obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's MAGA country where we
Yeah.
were living at the time,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
becoming more and more so. And my son was just getting bullied mercilessly to the point where he had to. I mean, we went through hospitalizations, and we went through. I mean, it was just for the sake of his autonomy and stuff. I'll just leave it at that. That it was all the bad things,
Heartbreaking.
and my daughter was suffering silently, closeted, and then came out. And then everything just kind of changed.
Mhm.
And so we split. It took another year after the divorce from my youngest to finally be able to articulate that they were trans and what all that could mean. And it was like, let's go shopping. What do you want? How do we
Let's do
we
this.
help you?
And
I
are
was-
you at the same exact time processing your own sexuality? So like all of
Yeah.
this, like you, your kids, you're all kind of going through
Yeah.
this
You're
together.
you're
that
so
good or
Mormon.
bad?
You went through it as a family.
I know.
Yay! Families are forever.
But is that good or bad? Was that like I can see where you are, or was it like
yeah, actually.
I can't focus on myself?
Well, look, I'm like hardcore mom. I am that lady in the grocery store that every now and then will have like a toddler grab onto me because they think I'm their mom. Like, I've just come to terms with it. But
That's
at
cute.
that point, first of all, I'd had my son in and out of hospitalization for an absolute mental health crisis for about 2 years.
My
And then we had
God.
pulled him out of school, and so I was dealing with all of that. And then my daughter came out and was really struggling her final 2 years. And then I have to brag about her partner because they're back together. And I'm so excited. So when she was in high school, she came out, and then she met her partner, who was nominated for Homecoming Queen, and they're non-binary, in this little bitty Texas high school.
Nice.
And everybody knew that they were non-binary, and they just were giving even though Queen is a gendered, it was like nobody cared. And then they didn't care either. And we go to the homecoming game, and keep in mind I'm in Texas. And so
Yeah.
homecoming is like
Big.
the big thing. And like my sister came and her husband, and we're all just like ready, like, if anybody says anything to these kids, I'm going to just, and everybody was like so excited because of course they won. It was national news.
Oh my God.
So that gave her a moment of stability during the tumultuous divorce.
Yeah.
And then
yeah.
my youngest is in the closet about their sexuality and their gender.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't know that there was anything wrong with the marriage. The older two were like, "Ooh,
Right.
Mom." And I felt that they were at a certain age where I could talk about me too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've also gone through this, and I was in the closet, and I know how difficult it can be. It's a little bit different, but I could work and talk with them about some of this stuff. But with my youngest, it was like, I mean, I'm seat in my pants here. I don't really know how to
Yeah.
talk about that. So I put myself on the back burner
Mm-hmm.
because I just needed to make sure that my kids were stable. I needed to make
Yeah.
sure that they were functioning, that they had a roof over their head, they felt safe and secure, and were moving forward with their life instead of me worrying about anything. So all of my sexuality was out there for them to know, but I wasn't dating. I wasn't, active or anything like that. I was just trying to keep my own head above water with respect to
Yeah.
caring for them.
You had a lot going on with those kids. That's a lot.
Had you raised them Mormon?
No,
Ah.
I didn't. I tried
That was
at the
probably helpful.
beginning, but when I left with an 18-month-old and a 4-month-old, I tried, and as soon as I married, who is their father,
Mhm.
he legally adopted them, I was like, I'm kind of done going to church, and I'm kind of done teaching this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to know about it, I'll talk to them about it because they're going to be exposed because of family. But I don't want to keep teaching this stuff. I don't want to perpetuate this stuff. So from my early 30s, I was effectively not Mormon, even though on the rolls I still was.
Uh-huh. So your youngest wasn't raised in the church at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. Yeah.
Really, all of
Thank
them.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank Buddha. Thank whoever's out there.
Right?
Mother Nature.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to hair care, Robin.
Mhm,
I use
mhm.
so much product. I need a good shampoo to get it all out, but it needs to keep my hair grease-free so it's easy to style.
Oh my God, tell me about it. I need a good conditioner that's going to soften my hair without adding more grease. But now I have personalized Prose routine, and I can honestly say I've never been more in love with my hair.
That's exactly where I was going. Prose makes custom hair care that is effective because it is personal. It uses natural ingredients with proven results. Prose customizes every product in your routine from shampoo to supplements. So what you do is you take this quiz, and some of the questions I got were unexpected, like what's your zip code and how often do you exercise? Location and the amount of times your hair gets sweaty makes a big difference in your hair, but I've never been asked those things when it comes to choosing products. Smart.
I know, totally. And
Yeah.
Prose analyzes all your answers and then determines what unique blend of ingredients should be in every product for your custom routine. And Prose got all my hair goals covered. Look at my hair, Jimmy. Does it look greasy to you?
It does not, Robin. It does not.
Exactly.
I'm using a smooth and vibrant clarifying and cleanse blend, and my hair feels great, and it's taking all this product like a champ.
Oh my God. And all their ingredients are sustainably sourced, ethically gathered, and cruelty free. They are also the first custom beauty brand to go carbon neutral. That's
I love
amazing.
that. And if you are not 100% positive Prose is the best hair care you've had, they will take the products back, no questions asked.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Prose is the healthy hair regimen with your name all over it. Take your free in-depth hair consultation and get 15% off your first order today. Go to prose.com/OCT.
That's prose.com/OCT for your free in-depth hair consultation and 15% off.
Woo! So, how's everybody now? I mean, and how are you? And how is that?
I have to say, they're all doing great. They're
That's
all
awesome.
thriving. So my oldest son, who had, did we have those teen years were really, really rough. Really, really rough. He has like the most amazing job. He has a tight group of friends. He has the life that he wants for himself. And there are elements of it that I'm like, okay, this doesn't work for me. He wants to be religious. He wants to be really spiritual and really devoted to his church. And that's his choice to make. And that's just fine. And then my younger two are like, fuck God, fuck religion. I want nothing to do with it. And all respect, but my daughter graduated with a 4.0 from Texas Women's, and she's getting ready to go
Okay.
to grad school. And then my youngest is probably one of the funniest people I know. He's so talented. One of the bravest people I know. I mean, here is this kid who basically marched up, and he's not a tall guy. He's 5'5". He's going to get mad that I say that. You're 5'6". He's 5'5". He,
Let's give him 5'7".
He's
What the hell?
6'3", and
He's starting basketball career.
I'm just saying it's a little creepy. It's a little freakish when he has to duck. So he went to this high school that's just full of the red caps and
Yeah.
just demanded that everyone use the correct pronouns. He's like, I'm Elliot now. And his teachers were like, okay. And if they didn't call him Elliot, he'd say it's Elliot.
Wow.
Oh, good for him.
Great.
The
Hey.
swagger on this kid, men's bathroom, says, I don't
Just-
belong in the women's bathroom. I don't belong there.
Wow.
And just
good
does
for
it.
him.
Just
Amazing.
freaking does it.
And it all
And-
turned out okay.
And they all turned out
Yeah.
okay. They all did. Every one of
Mhm.
them. They are the
That's
loves
right.
of my life, to be honest.
I mean, I think
Ah.
that's a testament to you. That I mean,
Yeah.
you did a good job, and it doesn't seem like you flinched at all
Mm-mm.
with all of their
No,
coming out.
That's true.
It seems like you led with your gut, which is something we talk a lot about in terms of like the fertility process. But it's something I think about for life. Like it just seems like you were like, "This isn't right. I need to move myself here,"
Yeah.
and you just kept listening and you kept listening.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine if you had not?
I think there's something to being queer and always having that wrong foot feeling from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't want to like paint with a broad brush, but I think we're a little bit more open to being responsive to something doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel this cog is slipping,
Right. Right.
And I do love that y'all, because I've listened to several podcasts, several of the recent ones where people just really had to advocate for themselves in the
Mhm.
medical community.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's how it is when you're in a conservative community and you have a gay child, you have maybe an autistic child, you have,
Yep.
you just have to say, you know what, I am the expert on my child,
Right.
not you. And I am telling you that this is what it is because they have told me.
Yeah. I say all the time, like, we know what it feels like to be othered.
Yeah.
And so we can see that in others when they're othered, and we can understand it, and we can help them
Yeah.
help themselves, I suppose. But I do want to ask, because my daughter's 7, and we just have been having conversations about gender and all the stuff, and we have this book, and she recently said to me, I feel kind of like between a boy and a girl, and we're talking, and we're very open about having this whole conversation. And I'm not going to lie, and I have a podcast about this stuff. I'm very open, right? I'm not going to lie, I had a moment where I'm laying there with my daughter in the bed thinking, oh my God, are we going here? Oh my God,
Yeah.
is this, so I recognized even within myself, like some of my inner biases came out, and I had to, if we do go down this path, because who knows, she's 7.
Right.
I'm going to have some reckoning to do within my own self, which
Yeah.
I didn't expect, honestly. I thought it was so
Yeah.
open and, cool down with whatever. And I'm coming to realize, this might take some work in my own heart,
It does. And, I heard a story. This was something that when my son came out to me as being trans, there was, and it's one of those things that like got passed around on Tumblr and blah, 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 in our communities. And it essentially boiled down to, there was this family that somebody had known. So it's probably a wives' tale, but there was a family at the turn of the century who had had a daughter, and they went away and they came back with a son. And I may have had the genders switched.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, I'm making up a name, Emmeline passed away, but this is our son, Bo.
Huh.
And so basically they just made it possible. They made it possible for their family to transition. And this is 100 years ago.
Right.
And something struck me when I heard that about Emmeline died.
Hmm.
Mm.
Hmm.
And I realized that anything that I was feeling about what was happening with my youngest son, and in some respects with my older son, because when he had all of his mental breakdowns, it changed his trajectory for
Mhm.
what I had imagined.
Mhm.
And so it's all ego. It's all yourself, where it's, I had this expectation that your path would take you here.
Yeah.
And I think that it's okay as a mother to internally mourn that path. Because I think you
Mhm.
do that regardless of, like, I wanted my kid to be a doctor and they're
Right.
going to
Yes.
be whatever, or, you know.
Or I wanted them to put their shoes on.
There's that.
I mourn that.
There's that.
But it's like there's a grieving process for that imagined path. And
Yeah,
I think it's okay to
absolutely.
have that internally.
Even when you don't realize you have it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize I had an internal path in my head for her. And I do want to be clear.
yeah.
I don't mean to out my daughter. We have no idea where she's going to end up. This is just
this is a 7-year-old talking
exactly. This is just an initial
Yeah.
conversation about gender, and I'm talking about the realization I had within my own heart with some of the
Yeah.
things that she said.
to mom. Yeah.
But you can't help but let the world seep into your pores. I mean, how
Yeah.
you know?
But that's why it's so great to have a dialogue like this and to have a platform like this, because if you don't talk about it and you don't lay out other people's experiences, you don't get the opportunity to think about somebody else's, how somebody else approached it.
Right.
Because otherwise you're just caught, you get caught with the blinders on and all you can see is just like what's in front of you.
Mhm.
And I don't know, it's a never-ending conversation
It is.
that has to happen, I think.
Yeah. And then then you're not afraid to be a little different. The more conversations
Yeah.
like this that are out there, the more you realize, oh, we're all completely different, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
You just made me remember my favorite childhood book, and this probably should have been a clue to everyone in my family. There was a book when I was like 4 years old, and it was Mr. Pine's Purple House.
I don't know this
And
book.
Mr. Pine had a house, and it looked exactly like every single house in the block. And every single house in the block had a door on the right and a window to the left and a shrub in the front and a tree in the corner. Every single house. And he wanted to look different. So he did he planted a rose bush, and then everybody on the block planted a rose bush. And he's like, "Ugh." And he goes, okay, I'm going to make my sidewalk go like this. And then everyone went, oh, that looks nice. And then everybody else went, right. And he's like, damn it. So he goes and he buys some paint, and he bought purple paint. And it's all the mess, and he's got the cat that's running up the ladder, and it's a little kid's book and stuff like that. And he paints his house purple, and the neighbors are like, I want to paint my house too. And he's like, like, of course he's not saying that, but it would have been a fun book.
I wish he was.
But they're like, no. I want mine to be striped. I want mine to be green. I want mine to be blue.
Oh
Mr.
my
Pine's Purple
God.
House. Where the hell is this book?
I love that
Oh my
book. I'm going
God.
to cry for that book. I want to get
Isn't
that
that so
book
good?
for my kids.
Yeah.
What a great lesson.
Yeah, I loved that book.
I love it. What I love about this, though, is like you are just about representation on every level.
Yeah.
For yourself, for your children, like the way you're processing it all. And also in your writing, too, that it just extends in every area of your life that you're just creating space. And I'm so incredibly happy that Mary found you and that she
Me
kept
too,
pushing
Mary.
us to get you on this podcast because your story is
You're
beautiful.
just a badass,
Well-
Laura Stone. You're just a
Well, I
badass.
was gonna say.
I mean,
So
I
good.
appreciate it. I just, when you realize that when you can drop a lot of the ego,
Yeah.
life is so much more fun.
Agreed.
Mm.
It's so much more interesting. I want to hear the stories. I want to hear other people's adventures and thoughts, and I want to be surrounded by. I want to learn. I want to continually learn and do better.
Yes.
So the only way you can do that is just by dropping the ego and going, "What's your story?
Yes.
What's going on there?"
And taking
Tell me
in
what
new
that's all about.
stories and accepting new stories.
yeah,
My God. Write
Amazing.
some more books, okay? I know you're working
was
on
gonna
one.
say-
well, I'm
Speaking of what's your story, tell everyone where they can follow you, where they can get your books, all of the jams.
sure. So I'm probably the most active on Twitter, and I know Twitter's usually a hellscape, but I do try to post funny shit.
Good.
You
And
do.
can-
I can say that. I've been following you for a while.
Girl.
Thank you. And it's Stony Boboni because, handles are a nightmare. And that's STONEYBOBONEY. And you can also go to my website, laura-stone.com.
Okay, perfect.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. It was
Thank
so
you, and
wonderful.
Kiss Mary square on the mouth for me.
She will.
I sure will. Oh my God, Laura Stone. I have to tell you, I frigging love that she dropped in her coming out story. So I was on acid. I mean, how do you not a lot of coming out stories have
Amazing.
that.
Oh, Laura. I love Laura.
I mean,
what a journey.
Yeah, right. And it's nice to hear that if you leave a church, you can be okay if that's your path. You know?
You can. In the end, it'll all be okay. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
It's right. That's
My
right.
favorite quote in the whole. But what I love about Laura is that she's obsessed with plants like I am, and she even has a plant page that I follow now. And I was supposed to send her a picture of my dying plant, and I never did. And now the dang plant is dead. I can't take 2022.
It had a good run, Jamie. That plan had a good run. Well,
I never sent her the picture.
It's not your. It was dying. It was our.
Well,
it was
but I
ready to
love
go.
her.
We got to bring her in for another book club on our live stream if we can work that out. We'll see how the first one goes.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, let's not get
Okay.
ahead of ourselves. But if it goes
I
well,
know.
she's our next book.
We're
club.
gonna. Yes, I can't wait. I'm
All
almost
right.
done with the book.
Tell everybody what's up next on our next live stream because it is this.
Okay, you guys, on our next live stream this Thursday, February 3rd at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Mhm.
You do not want to miss this episode because former guest and author Carolyn Elizabeth is joining us to talk about her new book, The Raven and the Banshee. And this
Mhm.
is our first ever book club.
We're
So
gonna
you need to get that
it.
book
get
now.
the book. Get the book right now. You have time to read
It's a
it.
quick read. It's a good book. It's lesbian
Lesbians and
literature.
pirates.
and they're pirates,
Come
and there's a romance,
Ooh.
and I'm very into it. I am liking it a lot. So get the book, read the book, come talk with us about it on the live stream with the author herself.
Yes, and if you miss it, you can catch it on the YouTube page later.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And then after that, follow us over there on the social media. Follow us. Ovaries Talk on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. If these ovaries could talk on the YouTube where the live streams live. And support the podcast and join our community on Patreon at patreon.com/ovaries talk. Get bonus content. Why would you not want to do it? You'd be part of our community.
We got you. So we have to say a huge thank you to our sponsors, Modern Fertility, Once Upon a Farm, and Prose. And also a huge thank you to all you Patreons who are helping to make this show.
Huge.
We thank you
Big.
so much. Huge, big.
Huge.
Name that movie. If you
Pretty
can
woman.
name that. Well,
Oh.
I meant the listener.
Oh, sorry. I wrecked it. Eggs
Ovaries.
out.
The only way to go is up. The only way to go is up.